We feel like if the story's great and we can help facilitate telling it, we don't need a ton of branding. We don't need POC products sitting next to every interview, or we don't need the traditional product placement in these stories. We feel like we're doing a service to the community by facilitating telling it. And for us, that's what we're here for.
From the baseball field to the NASCAR track to the tennis court, in sports, ads can be found everywhere. Brands and sports have been linked together through sponsorship for decades. And now, with the rise of social media and influencers, athletes can create even more profitable relationships with brands than ever before. But a sponsorship should be more than just a way for a brand and an athlete to make money. Today, more than ever, the message matters. The story you tell makes a difference, and the purpose behind a brand is what is drawing people in and converting them to loyal customers. At POC, that belief is what has been driving the company since its founding, and it is influencing its unique content strategy, which is successfully driving people to its website and into its e-commerce channels. David DeMartini is POC's Global Chief Marketing and Digital Officer, and on this episode of Up Next in Commerce, he explains why the purpose and data-driven content strategy the company has devised is working, and what other brands can learn from what they have built. Whether it's more of a focus on original serialized video or a different approach to working with influencers, POC's marketing strategies have far outperformed traditional methods. Learn how and why on this episode. Enjoy.
Up Next in Commerce is brought to you by Salesforce Commerce Cloud. Respond quickly to changing customer needs with flexible e-commerce connected to marketing, sales, and service. Deliver intelligent commerce experiences your customers can trust across every channel. Together, we're ready for what's next in commerce. Learn more at salesforce.com/commerce. Hey listeners, it's Stephanie. Before we dive into the episode, I want to let you in on a little secret. Did you know that Mission has the #1 e-commerce newsletter? It's amazing. It has really good news and insights and case studies that you will not find anywhere else. So go subscribe. mission.org/upnextincommerce. All right, on to the show. Hello and welcome back to Up Next in Commerce. This is your host, Stephanie Postles, co-founder of mission.org. Our guest today is David DeMartini, the Chief Marketing Officer at POC. David, welcome to the show.
Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you too. I just went into a wormhole watching some of your guys' videos with the skiers flying down the mountain at lightning speed. And I was like, could I do this? No, probably not. But they were great to watch.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. And I assure you, you could do it. We have an amazing roster of athletes that do a great job of telling our brand story through their actions. And, our goal is to do everything we can to keep them safe. So it's fun to create content or let them create content. It helps us tell our story.
Yeah, I love that. We'll definitely be diving into all of that in a little bit. But first, tell me, or anyone who's listening, what is POC?
Yeah, so POC is a Swedish company that was founded kind of in 2006, 2007 timeframe. We are a protection brand. We're the world's leading protection brand, currently servicing athletes and participants across bicycle sports and snow sports. And so, we have a really strong mission and purpose to, save lives and protect those pursuing their passion, and enable people to really find more joy in life through using our products to keep them as safe as possible when they're doing the things that they love.
Yeah. And you have very nice looking products as well. I haven't been snowboarding in a while, but I'm like, if I was, I would want this helmet here. And they even have like mouth guards nowadays, which is mind blowing to me. I mean, very helpful, but I have not seen any other companies who have a helmet with is it called a mouth guard? What is the word for that now?
Yeah, well, on the snow side, we have we have a couple different disciplines that we service, and I think the product you're referencing is one of the helmets we have on the race side of our business. When slalom skiers or even some GS skiers are running gates, there's a kind of chin bar that attaches to the helmets to make sure none of the gates end up smacking them in the face as they're making their way down the course. So kind of always looking for ways to better protect our athletes and our customers. And that's a pretty handy service, with that chin bar, because taking a slalom gate to the face is not much fun.
It does not sound like it. I also looked at them like, this would be perfect for my 2.5-year-old. He is always falling and hitting his face somehow or his chin. I'm like, you guys need some kids versions of this.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have an amazing children's line that we call Paquito.
Oh, cute.
Kids helmets, and there's some really cool safety pieces built into that. We found that the most accidents that happen with kids on a ski slope or on a bicycle are scenarios where someone larger than them, whether it's a larger kid or an adult, just simply doesn't see them, and there's a collision that happens. So we have a really great visibility story built into our kids products, but we hadn't thought about kind of the chin or face protection for the children, but maybe worth looking at. Yep.
Yeah. So when I was looking through your LinkedIn a bit, I also saw that you have a background in media and sports, and I was wondering what drew you over to POC.
Yeah, so I kind of cut my teeth at an agency in Colorado, working across an amazing book of brands that the agency Backbone Media serviced at the time, and it was really an amazing opportunity for me because I got to really kind of dig in and understand some of the challenges that brands of really all maturity level were trying to overcome. Everything from a larger, more established brand like a Eddie Bauer or Yeti Coolers, all the way up to startups looking at how do they just kind of continue to raise some money to propel their business. And so as I was working through and kind of learning and absorbing and working with all these amazing people at Backbone Media, I was really kind of fine tuning the things that were interesting to me and kind of knew I always wanted to be in marketing and direct to consumer, but really kind of found an understanding of what specifically in those areas were interesting. And then, after about 5 years with Backbone, POC was one of the clients of Backbone for a long time and one of the accounts I worked on. And, an opportunity came up to join POC internal as the marketing director for North America. And I took that and, have been lucky to find myself in some opportunistic positions within POC. And my skill set has allowed me to kind of rise through the ranks here as well, which has been really fun and really rewarding.
Yeah, that's great. I also love how POC has the same messaging across all the platforms. It was very clear about what you guys stood for. So tell me a little bit about, did that draw you in when you saw, here's our purpose, here's why we're here? How did that impact your decision to jump over to work with them?
Yeah, I think that one of the key attributes that you see as particularly important and something that a lot of brands in the outdoor space focus on is purpose. And the term purpose can kind of be applied to business or the way that a company operates in a lot of different ways. But, I realized early on that a trend that I was seeing with the brands that I worked with at Backbone Media, the ones with a solid foundation, a clear purpose, and, a really clear and, ambitious, but not to the point where, the brand platform or the mission or the vision, didn't really mean anything. Those are the companies and the brands that were doing the best. And so I quickly realized how important that was. And so, as I thought about what was next, I knew that was kind of core to any organization that, I could see myself at for an extended period of time. And so I made that one of my priorities, and starting to look around for whatever was next for me was, that purpose has to be there. And I have to really be able to connect to that purpose in a meaningful way, because if I can't, in a lot of ways, you're trying to fake it to make it. And that just gets really taxing and is tiresome and hard to do. And, it comes back to, if you connect to the purpose, it's very easy to find the motivation to really give everything you have to the business. And, these days you have to do that. So POC has that. It's a really, really amazing kind of brand platform and mission and vision that's been with us since day one. And credit to the founder, Stefan Itterborn, who, created the brand in 2006 to address a problem that he saw in the form of his kids were becoming ski racers. And he looked around at the head protection at the time and said, this doesn't seem all that great. And I think I can do this better. And had the foresight to realize that, spending the time and really ironing out what he was there to do and what their mission and vision looked like, was crucial to make sure he built something that could, continue to live on and be successful.
That's great. Yeah, kids always seem to be a driving force sometimes with, businesses or new products. And I love that story, having an actual reason to develop something and being like, oh, everyone actually needs this in this industry and it's not good enough and I'm going to fix it right now. Yeah.
He saw a problem that was specific to him and where he was in his life and realized that, he's probably not the only one feeling this way and, really created something special. And it's been a fun ride since then and continues to do well. So, again, goes back to the core purpose of the business is real and meaningful. And that's really, really valuable in making sure that we make the right decisions on a day-to-day basis.
So since you've been able to see, many brands, especially while you're working at the agency, what are, tips or best practices around maybe a new brand coming up with their purpose, but then actually following through? Because I think that's a tricky thing with a lot of these new companies popping up is it seems like a lot of them say they have a purpose or here's, what we're doing, but doesn't actually come through. It's just like the messaging, like you don't see actions behind it. Like, is there any advice or things that you saw when you were at the agency of like, this worked and this did not work? Like everyone should not do it this way.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think the answer to that can take many different forms, but really what you're looking for is something that's balanced and something that it can stand the test of time. And so what I saw at Backbone was, it used to be that you could identify a problem, find a solution for it, and then take that and run with it. And I think that worked for a long time. And that was kind of the traditional approach to starting a business. But I think, the consumer today has evolved so much to where they look for more than just helping them solve a problem. You really have to be invested in the solution and in the problem itself to a point where it's authentic and real. And so I think for anybody who's thinking about, starting a business and I can't stress enough the importance of making sure you spend the time and put the work in on, building a brand platform and then pressure testing that through all kinds of different mock scenarios, thinking about where you're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years and beyond, and making sure the verbiage you use in the core of that brand platform, can remain constant. It's almost like you can't be too focused on the problem you're trying to solve. You have to think beyond that problem to future problems and make sure that your approach and what you're creating can solve future problems as much as it can solve the problem here and now. It's a really hard thing to do, and it takes a very kind of specific approach and creative mind, and it's not easy to achieve. And so I feel lucky to be part of an organization where we were able to achieve that, and the founders that started POC went through that exercise, and it's cumbersome and difficult, but I think it's super important.
Yeah, I completely agree. It reminds me of, I don't know if you've heard of the clock of the long now. It's like a 10,000 year clock, and it's all about encouraging long-term thinking. And every time I start thinking about longer term thinking and where is this headed, I always think about that clock. It's my motivation.
Yeah, I think that's a great connection point. And, it's really hard to visualize and come up with, mock scenarios as to what could happen in 10 years, because who knows what's going to happen in 10 years. But, I think just going through the exercises and putting the time and the effort in will help you kind of find the right balance between too immediate and here and now. And then, on the other end of the spectrum is, I don't know if you know a guy named Scott Galloway, but he uses the term yoga babble, where you use so many buzzwords and it's so kind of conceptual that it actually completely loses all of its meaning. Like you got to find some place in between there that is balanced and can kind of stand the test of time to a certain degree.
That's a good mentality. I saw you have another title, which you didn't mention in the intro, and I'm not sure why, of executive producer. I was looking at the one video, American Downhiller, which is really good. I only got to watch 10 minutes of it, but I think it's a good segue into some of your marketing and content strategies, because the video was so well done. I mean, is it on Netflix? Like, if not, it should be. Tell me a little bit about how you guys go about thinking about developing videos and content like that.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's a really, really fun and amazing project that we just kind of launched to the world earlier it was in October, actually. I was going to say November, but launched in October with a kind of world premiere here in Park City, Utah, and then a distribution program with US Ski Team and skiracing.com. And, like I mentioned, we got our start in ski racing, and it's incredibly important and core to our business. It's, compared to other kind of snow sports categories or the bike category, it's relatively small, but it's so important because, the athletes, really on any level that are competing or skiing gates on a consistent basis. I mean, that's where the stakes are the highest. The speeds are incredibly high. The snow conditions are ice essentially these days. You have, skis with incredibly sharp edges, and the possibility of things going wrong is quite high. And so we work really hard to continue to innovate on behalf of the ski race community and find different ways to, apply the different technologies and safety features that we developed to their world. And, so through the years, we've become really close with the ski race community. Like I said, it's not a huge community, but it's a very tight knit one, and one that we're very happy and proud to be part of. And over the years, looking for opportunities and being very close with the U.S. ski team, we saw this story that was really amazing and hadn't really been told on a mass level around the men's speed team, and how a brotherhood really kind of formed through, I guess you could say through unique adversity, in the sense that, ski racing in the US is not what it is in Europe. When you go to Austria, you go to, Norway, you go to Switzerland, ski racing is, it's like the Hahnenkamm in Austria it's like the Super Bowl. It's a huge deal there. It's an amazing, massive fan bases. And, so being an American, and when you're competing, most of the races are in Europe. And so the challenges that the US team had to overcome were unique. And I'm not really qualified nor want to say that their challenges were harder or worse or harder to overcome than some of the Europeans, but they were just different. You're not able to travel home on the weekends. You're spending so much time with your other teammates, and it really kind of cultivated this brotherhood that, kind of organically evolved into this story that they took the name American Downhillers, and that term, became a tool to kind of represent this brotherhood and the function of some of the more veteran guys on the team, working to help develop and help some of the younger guys that were coming up through the speed program, navigate some of these difficult scenarios that they were in, where, you're in foreign country, you're not able to see your family, you're not able to go home on a consistent basis. And it really just, that story was just so amazing that we were kind of working with skiracing.com, and we finally said, hey, let's try and tell this story. And so it kind of came to life in, I believe it was 2017, where we started to do some short episodes in conjunction with skiracing.com. And we did that for 2 or 3 years, kind of 5-minute, 8-minute, 12-minute episodes, kind of focusing in on different elements of, this American Downhiller story. Towards the middle of 2019, we said to ourselves, well, these episodes are great, but we haven't really done anything like telling the story from start to finish is something we haven't done, and it would be an amazing piece for the ski race community. And so we partnered with skiracing.com and a woman named Claire Brown, who's an amazing producer and has an amazing team of filmmakers. She's been a part of the ski race community since she was a little kid, and she raced competitively through college, and I believe she was an All-American, and is a staple in that industry and community. And so we worked with her to tell the story. And so we were able to kind of tell the story from start to finish and pull pieces from the different episodes that we had. And it turned into this really amazing piece that, kind of gives some insight and some behind the scenes look into, what it truly means to be an American downhiller and some of the challenges that they had to overcome. So a really, really fun project that, Claire and Elizabeth Reeder, who's one of our sports marketing managers, did an amazing job facilitating and putting together. And we're super proud of it. And, we're excited. We're going to continue on with this theme. And, this first one was focused on the men's team, and there's equally as interesting and amazing stories on the women's side. And we're excited to kind of continue to tell these amazing stories that happen in American ski racing. And the next one up will be a focus on the women's team.
That's great. So where does this content live? I definitely want to finish it. I mean, like I said, it seems like it should be on Netflix or something. It's very, very well done, very professional. It gets you right from the beginning with all the skiers hopping in and saying like what it means to them. Like, where do you guys put this content after it's all made?
Yeah, so the distribution for it, we launched a lot of amazing new ski race product this season, and so we had an objective to reach and engage and build our connection with the ski race community. So the initial kind of rollout plan with this was to work with the US ski team, work with skiracing.com, and obviously we would support it as well. But we have it living on YouTube.
Okay.
And we've seen really great results from, kind of an organic grassroots distribution plan. We are looking at some film festivals throughout the country over the next few months and have submitted it in a few of those. And we are looking at, some larger distribution. There's possibility that some of it might run on NBC this winter, which would be amazing. And, we're looking at kind of the subscription viewership platforms like Netflix and Apple TV and Amazon as well. And, trying to figure out how we can get it up there. And the goal with kind of the larger distribution platforms is, again, it's the story is what's most important, and the story can help inspire the next generation of ski racers, or particularly American downhillers. And we want that, there's a utility function to that. And we want to make sure that that's available to any and everybody that wants to see it on an ongoing basis. So there's kind of a long tail distribution plan to this as well, to make sure that, anybody who wants to learn and understand this story, has the ability to do that through some of these larger platforms.
Yeah, it's cool. It seems like there's definitely a lot of angles. You've got the partnership thing going on. You've got, being able to tell the story holistically like you wanted to, and then the long tail of like possibly being able to sell products as well when people see them, at the perfect place, perfect time while they're watching it.
Yeah, and we were very intentional about, we didn't want this to be something that felt like, we were artificially trying to place POC product throughout it. The commitment was to the story. Like I said, we've been a partner with US Ski Team for so long that our product is visible, but you'll also see product from our competitors in it, and that's okay. If the story's great and we can help facilitate telling it, we don't need a ton of branding. We don't need POC products sitting next to every interview, or we don't need kind of the traditional product placement in these stories. We just, we feel like we're doing a service to the community by, facilitating telling it. And for us, that's what we're here for. So, we take a bit of a different approach to content than say some brands do, or some brands previously have.
Yeah. Well, how do you guys approach product placement? Because that seems like a very, it's always been around, but I see a lot of brands doing it way better now. I was just talking about it, the Netflix series, the one about organizing, and how well the Container Store did after that. And I don't remember really being like slapped over the head with the branding, but it was more me wanting to check into it afterwards of like, well, what were they using to organize their entire closets? And it was very organic. So I see brands doing a much better job now when it comes to product placement and partnerships around that. Like, how do you guys explore that avenue?
Our sports marketing organization does an incredible job, and partnering with athletes and getting our product on athletes has been core to our marketing strategy since day one. And so, again, I do think it comes back to the purpose, conversation we had. And we are not delivering on our purpose if we are not supplying the best in the world with our products, because we truly do believe that they're the safest products out there. And so, when you take an approach of, we want personalities, we want athletes on our roster that have, similar beliefs, but of course their own brand and their own way of kind of executing on those beliefs. But, we want people who stand for innovation, progression, and we want to make sure that the partnerships we develop with athletes, we truly are helping them pursue their passion and helping them kind of progress the sport or the sport that they've dedicated their lives to. And so we have an amazing list of a roster of athletes that kind of always looking at and adding to. We have some amazing development programs as part of our sports marketing strategy. We have kind of a three-leveled approach. We just launched a revised kind of regional or grassroots athlete program that we call the Aspired Collective. And, that is solely intended to give up and coming athletes, across both snow sports and the bike world, give them opportunities and help them continue to progress in their careers to one day be the next superstar. And so doing what we can to support the communities and support the activities and sports that we service through supporting talent within those categories, you naturally find yourself with your product on the right people more often than not. And so again, it's a little bit, we try and take maybe a less manufactured approach, and we don't go out and say, next year we think so-and-so is going to be the best ski racer, so we got to get our stuff on this person, this guy or girl, and then the next year it's someone else. And so we go after it. Like, we look for longer term partnership opportunities, people who truly believe in what they're doing, and partnering with us helps them do what they're doing better. That's the stuff we look for.
Yeah. It seems like athlete sponsorships, that's like the original OG influencers. Like, influencers are big now, but the sponsorships of athletes seems like it was already going on, for a really long time. But what seems like really hard to do is figure out how it's driving sales or how it's influencing your marketing campaign. Like, how do you guys think about that when you're setting up these partnerships and you're picking out what athletes you want to work with? Like, how do you think about what the end result should be outside of just, wanting to work with a great person, of course, and making it long term? Like, what are some metrics you hope to achieve with these partnerships?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, because I think the rise of kind of influencer marketing has put such an emphasis on follower number and engagement metrics and all these things. And, I think what we've seen is that, those things are all important, and I'll get into kind of how we look at those, but you can't focus so much on just the numbers to where you lose sight of the individual, the personality, really the non-tangibles that an influencer or an athlete or any sort of partnership brings to the brand. And we've been very careful to we have an objective to be results driven and measure what we can and take a data driven approach, of course, but we also want to make sure we don't over index on that to the point where we lose some of the intangible stuff. So when we look at an athlete, a lot of times, their Instagram follower count or their YouTube page is an important metric in the equation, but there are also 3 or 4 other metrics that are equally as important. So we look at personality, we look at, opportunity to have a longer term relationship with this person. We look at, how they compete, where they compete, these sorts of things, and, make a very balanced call on whether or not they should be somebody we should pursue or not pursue. But to answer your question about measuring, influence that athletes or influencers have, it is difficult. And, there are some kind of data tools that we have, whether it's being smart about how you distribute content for them to, work into their communication outreach with specific links and stuff that we can track through our website. But, a lot of that stuff is kind of specific to a single campaign or a single program. And, there's really not a great way, going back to the equation that we look at, there's not a great way to measure intangible stuff, but we know it's important, and we know it's working, and it's a core element of our positioning in the marketplace. And so, we measure what we can, but we also try and be real and be okay with, there's simply some things that are just hard and difficult to measure. And, if we trust ourselves to say, there's things that aren't measurable. I trust our people, and we trust ourselves to say, this is worth the investment, and it's providing a lift to our brand in a way that, we just simply can't measure.
Yep. What are some of your favorite marketing campaigns that you've done that you really remember, or that were most successful?
Favorite marketing? The American Downhiller one is definitely up there, just because it was so different and new, and, we never produced a feature length film. But we've already talked about that one. We just launched earlier this fall. We launched a signature series, around Fabio Widmer, who's an incredibly talented mountain biker, whether it's trials or downhill riding or dirt jump riding. He's arguably the most popular mountain biker in the world right now. And we created a signature series with him that we launched earlier this fall. That's really, really cool. And we took the approach of, we're going to create the product for you, but we really want you to create the marketing and the messaging and kind of launch this product in your voice. And that was kind of a really fun approach to take to this, because 1, it took a little bit of the stress off us internally, and 2, it allowed for our audience to kind of hear a message that they're used to hearing from us, from somebody different, which I think in a lot of ways was quite refreshing and something different. And so, Fabio's team is incredible at creating highly engaging, video content, and his YouTube following is massive. And so, we basically said, we'll help you make the product, we'll support some of the distribution of the content, but we want you to create that content. It was a different approach for us and a pretty fun one, because, it brought a different tone of voice to a launch than we're used to having.
Oh, that's really fun. I mean, I can think of, and a really good point, because I can think of so many brands who work with, people in their industry, and they end up squishing their creativity by saying, like, this is our brand messaging, this is how it needs to be done. And you can tell, you're like, this is not Oprah Winfrey talking. This is like, not that Oprah does that. I don't know. But, they squish the creativity of the artist or the influencer by all their rules, and it ends up not being very organic. And then no one's following actually ends up connecting with it. Exactly.
And the value that these athletes and influencers and anybody we partner with bring to our brand is they have their own community, and we want to help them build their own community. But if we come in and say, you need to talk to the community that you've built in our voice, in the way that we speak, and, over engineer that, one, that their community is going to say, this is stupid. Like I can tell this isn't you, or, I can tell that this isn't the person that I committed to, either, through a click on follow or some other way. And, if we give that freedom to the person to communicate the points that we're trying to get our audience to understand in the way that, feels natural to them, it's going to come off better. It's going to be a better end product in terms of the creative, and again, it's going to resonate with the audience more effectively. And so we lean on our athletes in our roster of partners very heavily, because they're good at what they do, and for us to come in and say, we know how to do what you do better, it doesn't feel right, and I don't think it's right.
Yep. So you had a good quote that I saw, but I'm probably going to botch it, so you can just tell me if it's wrong. It's all around data, and you were saying that the data that you gather around your customers is your true north. And I wanted to hear a little bit about, what kind of data do you look at, and is that influencing your products, or like, how are you using it day to day?
Yeah, I think that you got the quote exactly right. So thank you for that. And maybe a little counterintuitive to my last point of the balance between tangibles and intangibles. But when we do have data available, we need to make sure we're using that. And we are still a growing organization, and we are far from totally dialed in terms of our data management and pulling and curating as much data as we possibly can. But we have gotten a lot better at doing that over the past 3 or 4 years. And part of being able to actually use your data effectively, you have to start with your systems and your tech stack. And we've been really lucky to be able to partner and use Salesforce suite of services with Commerce Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Service Cloud. And the decision to run with those platforms was specifically so that we could start to organize our data and get our systems to speak better together, and learn more about our customers. We have all kinds of different touch points with these customers, and the fact that Salesforce Commerce Cloud can speak with Marketing Cloud and even with Service Cloud, when we get a customer service inquiry, that scenario really at least gives us an opportunity to maximize what we know about our customers. And so like I said, we have a long way to go to be where I would say we're an A+ rating in terms of data management, but every day our team gets smarter, and we make the right decisions, and we learn more. And I think in terms of using the data as your true north, and kind of bringing it full circle back to the idea of balance, you gotta be able to analyze the data, understand what the data is telling you, but then put that information or that insight into the context of the other things about your customer base. One of the things I feel very lucky in that, we are a relatively small team, a marketing team of 25 or 28 people across both the marketing team and the digital team. One of the benefits of that is that we don't have a lot of redundancy, and every individual in the organization, you naturally kind of have to gain an understanding, and you got to know our customer relatively well for almost everything that we do. That kind of contextual understanding and knowledge of our customer, coupled with some better data management and insight pulling, actually does give us a pretty good understanding of our customer, what's important to them, and how we can kind of deliver on that. Whereas I think a lot of times in bigger organizations, I've seen, if you have a lot of kind of, not necessarily redundancy, but a lot of kind of very specified positions that do one thing and do one thing very, very well, it's a lot harder to understand the big picture and kind of gain an accurate, profile of, the contextual things that go along with your customers. And so I guess what I'm saying is, in a large organization, it's very easy to look at the data and only the data. And it's sometimes hard to kind of bring your head up and look around and say, okay, well, this is what this is telling me about this specific point or insight. How does that connect with what might be happening over here? And so there's, of course, some challenges with being a smaller group, but there's also a lot of benefits, and that's definitely one of them. Yeah,
I completely agree. I mean, thinking about how do you get to that holistic approach where, I've been at larger companies before, and, things get siloed, and you have your customer service team over here, and they're probably hearing so many good nuggets from customers about new product features they want, or, something that might help the experience better, or the unboxing experience. And a lot of times that data just gets stuck there. and you don't know how to incorporate into your new product launches and stuff. And so I hear a lot of companies, especially smaller ones that are very quickly growing, experiencing issues like that, where things are all siloed and they don't know how to look at the data, but then also take a step back and use your gut and be like, that's actually kind of sending us in the wrong direction, or that's not really our customer who's saying that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's being a small group allows us to, our customer service manager can easily stand up and walk across the room, or these days, tap our digital director on the shoulder and say, hey, three of my team members said this and they're hearing this, what does that mean for what you do? Those sorts of conversations are really, really important. And it's a little easier for us to facilitate those just because we're a smaller team.
Yes. So what kind of digital trends are you excited about? Like, where are you guys headed over the next 3 years in the world of e-commerce?
It's a good question, but I there's lots of them. I think one of the things a trend that I'm seeing and we're actually acting on is that consumers their expectations have evolved to a certain point to where the traditional tactics in terms of driving a sale, there's more options there. I think you're seeing a lot of brands think about the needs of their customers and really looking at it and saying, we need to be able to add more value than we're looking to extract from our customer base. And to do that, you have to really think about what are the challenges or the struggles or the other kind of, complementary problems you can solve for your customers on behalf of them to, help strengthen that connection they have with your brand. And I think what we're going to see is that we're going to see a lot less mass trends, I guess, in a sense, or mass tactics in the sense that brands that are going to be successful are the ones that are going to focus on building a community that is tight-knit, has a very meaningful value prop for the members of that community, and ultimately, places a little bit more emphasis on lifetime value and holding on to the customers that they have and building a better relationship with them versus, kind of turn and burn customer acquisition, bring them in, make a sale, move on to the next. We're really excited about that because we have a lot of the ingredients necessary to build a meaningful community. And we have to do some ideation on, this idea of providing more value than we're looking to extract. But it's a new set of challenges, and one that I think is a little bit more fun because you're becoming a better partner to your community and keeping hold of that and looking for ways to solve other problems for them and make your brand more appealing and one that they want to connect with on a deeper level. That's really fun, and so we're excited about that.
Yep, that gets back to the whole idea of long-term thinking. And I think the companies that'll rise above the rest, especially with so many coming out right now, are going to be the ones who think longer term like that, think how to build that community and really engage your customers. That's not just driven on that quick conversion.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you look at kind of the mega brands out there right now that are being successful, they are looking at that exact equation, obviously in a different way than we are, but you see brands like Peloton and Lululemon's acquisition of Mirror. They're looking to check a series of boxes, whether it's, vertically integrating, owning the hardware, developing a reoccurring revenue model, all these things that kind of complement and go hand in hand with a tight-knit community of consumers that are truly committed to you as a brand. I think Lululemon's one of the most amazing examples because, they do such a good job of developing a community, creating these ambassador programs to where you walk in a store, there's one up here on Main Street. You walk in the store and you look around and the imagery they use are local ambassadors. You look up on the wall and you see your friends up there and it's like, wow, I didn't even know, one, I didn't know they were an ambassador. That's cool. But also to be that smart to actually integrate local ambassadors into their communication and at retail is just such a cool thing and makes the brand feel truly invested, in this area.
Yeah. I didn't know they did that. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're kind of all in on the community thing. And I think this acquisition they made of this Mirror product is a great way to kind of continue to facilitate that at scale. And it'll be a really cool kind of, not really case study, but brand to follow over the next couple of years and see how they continue to evolve because they truly are kind of the best in the biz.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, let's shift over to the lightning round brought to you by Salesforce Commerce Cloud. This is where I'm going to ask a question and you have a minute or less to answer. Are you ready to go, David?
All right.
All right.
So this might be tough.
Dun, dun, dun. I'll just have to cut you off. I'm have to be
cut me off. Don't be shy.
All right. What's up next on your Netflix queue?
Ooh, Netflix queue. I don't know the name of it, but there's a film series about the Formula One circuit that has been recommended to me, and I wish I could remember the name, but it follows some of the drivers on Formula One, and it's supposed to be really, really good. So
Drive to Survive.
That might be it. I think you're right. It's saved in our account, which is very helpful. Thank you, Netflix. But that's the one we're super psyched to see next.
Nice. That sounds cool. Yeah, I think someone on our team actually recommended that as well. And I think they told me to watch it from a business perspective. I'm not really sure why. I need to check it out.
Well, you have to let me know what you think.
Yeah. What's up next on your travel destinations when we can get out into the world and travel again?
Man, that sounds so nice, doesn't it?
I know. That's why I like to ask it.
Yeah, my wife and I have been talking about, and we originally were going to do it for a honeymoon, but things didn't work out the way we wanted to with that trip. But we still have not skied in Japan, and that is on our list for when things settle down, is to go. And Japan's such an amazing place, and has such a great culture that we're super excited to experience that a little more in depth than my business trips have allowed. And they also get an incredible amount of snow, so the skiing's quite good as well.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds really nice. And then you can go and hang out in the hot bath with his monkeys, Have you seen that?
I have seen that. I think my wife might be more excited for that than she is the actual skiing.
I'll go with her then.
Yeah.
I went to Japan and I missed that because we weren't in the right area. And I was very sad. I'm like, how fun would it be to take a bath with monkeys? I don't know. Maybe it's a tourist trap, but either way, I want to try it.
Yeah, it sounds pretty entertaining.
Yeah. What one thing do you not understand today that you wish you did?
Oh man, I mean, so much. Here and now, I'm getting ready to take the next level of avalanche certification and understanding how avalanches work so that we can ski and travel through the backcountry safely. I have some training on that, but there's a lot more that I don't understand. And so that is fresh on my mind as the snow is starting to fall, and I'm excited to continue my education on, understanding snowpacks and making sure that we can ski great snow, but do it safely.
Oh man, that's a good one. And that is a unique answer. No one else has said that so far. So David.
Thank you.
All right. And then the last one, what one thing will have the biggest impact on e-commerce in the next year?
I mean, the thing that comes to mind feels a little bit like a cop-out just because it's been so talked about, but I think 5G is really hard to ignore. And when that kind of fully rolls out, the mobile trends that we're seeing are going to become even more important and pointed. So, it's going to put so much more emphasis on the computer you carry in your pocket rather than one that you sit on. We and a lot of other brands are still working on, how do you crack that device in the way that's as meaningful as it could be and maximizing the value to the business that comes from a mobile device. So I think that's going to continue to become more and more important, and it's a tough one to solve.
That's a great answer. It's not a cop-out because no one else has said that so far. I thought you were going to say
All
COVID,
right.
And then I was going to be like, no, everyone says that.
No, so, I didn't think of that. It's
I'm glad.
Become the new normal, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. All right, David. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find out more about you and POC?
Come find out more about us at POCsports.com. Can learn more about our product offering, our amazing roster of athletes, and the things that are important to us. And want to take a moment just to thank the amazing team of people, not just with marketing, but everybody here involved with POC. Like I mentioned, they are as committed as anyone can be to why we exist, and that permeates through our business in so many different ways on a consistent basis. And the people here and the talent that they bring and the drive and passion that they bring truly is what makes us an amazing organization. So would rather say thank you to them, I guess, than promote myself, if that option is okay.
That option is okay. That sounds great. Well, thanks so much, David. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Stephanie, and great to speak with you.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you'll probably also love our e-commerce newsletter. To get it delivered straight to your inbox every week, sign up at mission.org/upnextincommerce.
Up Next in Commerce is brought to you by Salesforce Commerce Cloud and created by the team at mission.org. Subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts.